going on, everybody? My name is Smart Mark. I'm from Philly. I represent I Am Fresh Select from America's Best Dance Crew, Academy of Fresh of the school district that represent, you know, all the competitions, World of Dance and Prelude and stuff like that. So, Smart Mark.
Tell me about some of your trials and tribulations through dance. Like, you know, you're a young guy, but you know, you've reached a certain plateau of success, and I know it wasn't easy.
There's a lot of trials and a lot of tribulations. After ABDC, you know, I was opened up to another world. You know, I didn't know about the world of dance and the choreography teams, and you know, all I knew about your crew. That's it. You know, 8 members, 9 members. Y'all go out to parties. You know, you do school shows sometimes, and you know, sometimes you might get paid. You know, open up for artists here and there. You know, but you know, to do it as a career wasn't, you know, looking too bright for me, because I didn't know where to go and I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know how to get signed to the agency. I didn't know what to do to get signed to the agency. But before ABDC, I was in an all-Christian company, and I decided, you know, to go to ABDC myself because I was the only one that always reached out to other people outside, you know, the company. So, you know, I was always friends, period, with everybody. So even if I'm in a crew or company, I'm still friends with other people. So, you know, and I still get down with other people. That's what I'm about. And me and my friend Ruckus, we made a crew called Fresh Select, but it was with the F first, because we were the only boys that went out to the clubs and stuff like that. But we dressed nice. So he's like, oh, we should be named Fresh Select, and we just go out to, you know, the club and just get down and we, you know, dress, because B-boys coming with the big elbow pads, and, you know, looking crazy. So, you know, Virgil was always with me, Little L. A lot of people know him. He's always like, you know, Smart Mark, Little L, you see him. So he was always with me. So he was a part of original Fresh Select, and Blau was part of Fresh Select. So we just went around the clubs, you know, just hanging, you know, being friends. And then ABDC came up. I was watching it all the time with Jabberwockies and stuff. And, you know, that was around the winter time. So we were in the house a lot. So once I seen that they was having another audition, me and Ruckus was like, you know, let's go for it. I called Ruckus, you know, asked him who would we want to get. So, you know, we just kind of mapped everything out. It was a smart thing. We was like, oh, we get John because he has the smile. We have Drew because we need a crazy black person, and Virgil because he's small, and the girls like him because he's cute. So, you know, we was really mapping it out. And actually, we made the show. We practiced for like 2 weeks straight. We went to New York. You know, we kind of figured that we was going to make the show, because when we was practicing in a big convention, it was just like quiet. It was silent, and we knew everybody. Someone knew someone, because, you know, Ruckus and Blau, they were strictly B-boys. They was in the B-boy community, so they knew all the B-boys. And then, you know, me and Virgil as the all-stars dancers, Little O, we just knew people from all over. So it just was like, wow, everybody, you know us, and MTV just, you know, felt us, and, you know, we went there prepared. We have our outfits that means a lot. You know, don't just go in there just, you know, looking like you just woke up and y'all just, you know, made up stuff. And we actually went there and we made up a routine, and it didn't look like ABDC. A lot of people forget that when you go on the show, you still have to go full out and you have to dance and sweat. And a lot of people get stuck with the staying still and their hands. You forgot you gotta get down, and that's what we did. So I guess that was like an eye opener for them. But ABDC was definitely an eye opener for me.
Okay, talk about after the show, you know, getting into your company. What, you know, how hard was that? You know, because being a young black man, even having your own business nowadays, you know, with the economy and everything, is very hard. So talk about how you were able to accomplish that and maintain it now, because that's definitely a big deal in this day and age.
After ABDC, like I said, it was a rude awakening. I seen the possibilities, you know, and I seen a lot of people, you know, YouTube, you know, that's basically your resume. I guess I would say my friends So Real Crew from Houston, Texas, they're the ones that I see putting up the videos first, like the actual dance movies, you know, to represent themselves. And then when they travel, they make it like a documentary, and you know, that build up their fan base and stuff like that. So, you know, I followed them. You know, after ABDC, you know, a lot of people was in it for themselves, believe it or not. You know, Little O went to Bermuda. He already had signed a contract to go to Bermuda for 10 months. Before we got kicked off the show and we were supposed to go back, he already had the contract signed. You know, Poppin' John already quit before, you know, we even went back for the finale. So basically it was me, Drew, you know, Blau, and Ruckus. So we were still trying to hold it up, you know, doing shows here and there in Arizona, you know, flying out to some places. And, you know, it was hard to keep it up because, you know, I came from another company which I thought they cared about us, but, you know, once you gain success without them and they can't get a percentage of your check, they feel a certain way. And if it's not true, then I would have been still in that company. So it is true. So I'm just stating, you asked me the question, so I'm answering it. And everyone, if you put it on YouTube, then everybody would know the deal. So.
I think that's the consensus, you know, that's out there with a lot of companies, and like you said, it's being said. That's the problem. Nobody says anything. Nobody says, so it's all right. You can say whatever you want. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you don't have to hold your tongue.
Well, they already know.
The time for that is over.
That's why people don't. You know, that's why people don't like Smart Mark, because I say what you have done. I say what I feel, and if I'm incorrect, then you can correct me. But they're not going to correct me because they know I'm right. So, you know. It ain't my fault. So, you know, Virgil left, you know, John left. The company, you know, Chosen, I didn't want to say their name, but they had got their, you know, Sunny Delight deal off of Fresh Select. You know, gave me an option to choose between Fresh and Chosen, and I felt like that wasn't fair because my friend, right, Drew, had an opportunity to do something with Fresh Select. He had a fiance, he had kids. So to leave a man, you know, whereas though you can help him, but somebody else just want to, you know, I just wasn't for that. So I pushed and I tried. I was going through a financial struggle myself after the show. You know, thank God, you know, I saved up money, you know, on the show. I saved up money, and, you know, my wife wasn't working at the time. I had a newborn baby.
Yeah, talk about that more. Talk about how you balance, you know, your dancing career with your daughter, because that's another thing that a lot of the dancers, they fail to realize that, yeah, it's about dance, but when you have a kid, it's not about you no more.
That's honestly one of my main goals, is to make it and still be able to help people in my city and still be around my family at the same time. And if I can do that, I can accomplish anything, because people just leave. They just roll out. You know, they don't know how hard it is to run a company, a dance studio, to run your own, you know, to help your wife who's a dancer, to take care of your daughter, and to, you know, train yourself and to still put your name out there and stuff like that. Like, it's a lot. So I do a lot, a whole lot. So it's you know, it was hard work to balance it, because, you know, I wanted to be out there more. I wanted to go out, you know, but I was doing that, thank God. You know, I left my dance company for the summer. When the time came back, that means I was still fresh off the show. Season 3 didn't happen yet, so I was, you know, going around getting jobs, you know, parties, teaching jobs. So my teaching jobs, you know, they were paying me enough to, you know, just teach. You know, my wife didn't have to work. I was building off of that. And then I would leave on the weekends a lot. You know, I would go to San Francisco all the time, the Bay Area. I would go back to LA. I would host MTV.com. A lot of people probably didn't know that. I would host season 3, and I would go back for season 4. And, you know, I was just always go back. I was always going back no matter what. But, you know, going back, it just made me want to start my own thing. You know, it made me want to start my own, because I see the kids, how they're really dancing and they're enjoying it and they're learning from these people, great people from the Bay. And, you know, to come home and we don't have a kid group that's, you know, that really knows anything about hip hop. You know, they just know what they see on TV, and they think, you know, if they meet Kevin Hart, they're going to make it to tour with Usher. That doesn't work that way. Just because you meet a celebrity doesn't mean you can make a tour with Usher, a dance tour. You know, he's a comedian. So I wanted to do something to where as though if you're a dancer, you meet another famous dancer, because that dancer can help you get on a tour because they're doing stuff. So it's like I came home, you know, I left all my teaching jobs. I was making a lot of money a week. Probably, I'll just say $1,000 a week, doing nothing basically, teaching. And I wasn't teaching every day, probably 2-3 days out the week. If I do a bar mitzvah party, $300, $400 a party. You know, I was making money. So, you know, I could have just stuck with that and just went about my business and just came back and forth, but I didn't. The dance studios, I quit them. I quit the dance studios because it wasn't enough. You know, 1 hour a week with children. Like, what can you learn 1 hour a week? We're on the East Coast. It snows. School is always out. You know, so it's basically I'll probably see them 3 times a month, probably twice a month. You know, Christmas break, Thanksgiving break. It's like, what can they learn? You know, I just wanted more. Going to California, the kids are so advanced. They're coming back to Philly, they're not advanced. You know, so I wanted to step out. So I stepped out. You know, I went to a community education center. I asked them how much was the rent, you know, to rent it out per hour, you know, because they had like a little studio, you know, and I was doing that. Basically, I was just paying rent, you know, telling people, promoting myself, you know, learning how to make my own flyers, bought my laptop, you know, learning how to make my own videos, learning how to, you know, market myself. You know, I just practice, you know, I see what everybody else's flyer look like. I try to imitate it. You know, it's okay to imitate. It's okay to imitate. It's not called biting. You're helping yourself. You're not copying. So, but now I can create my own flyers with my own vision.